morning everyone, I'm Richard Parr and you are watching Sportuccino on Tuesday, the 7th of February 2017. So glad you could join us this morning live on Facebook, live on Periscope and live on YouTube. If you like this show, please get involved and give us your thoughts on the Periscope page and on the Facebook page. Lots to talk about today. We're talking cricket, we're talking rugby, we're talking boxing, lots to fill in, but let's start our day with our morning sports headlines. Alastair Cook steps down as England cricket captain. Former South Africa rugby captain Joost van der Westhuizen dies at the age of 45. Russia's ban on athletics to be extended to this year's World Championships. And the NBA champions, the Cleveland Cavaliers, need overtime to beat Washington Wizards 140 to 135. Lots to talk about on today's Sportuccino. We've got our guests coming up very shortly, talking everything about boxing as well. But you may see in that box behind me is our logo, the Sportuccino logo. And we've got 99 designs to design it. They're a really good company and they offer it as a competition to talented freelancers around the world. And I was pretty pleased with the logo that we came up with. And you're allowed lots of iterations. You are allowed to work closely with the designers and you actually whistle it down until you get a handful of designers who are all competing to design your logo. And they do things like logos, website design, posters, business cards. Why don't you have a look at them? It's 99 designs. I'll also put a link down on our Facebook and on our YouTube page so you can learn more about them. Well, our top story today is, of course, Alastair Cook resigning as the England Test captain after a record 59 matches in charge. What do you make of Cook's performances as the England captain? He had 24 wins and 22 defeats, and he had the role since August 2012, and he led the team to Ashes victories in 2013 and 2015. I'd love for you to give me your thoughts on some of your favourite moments of Alastair Cook being in charge of the England team. Also, what do you think about the rumours that it's going to be Joe Root as the next England captain? Is that right? Is that the right decision? Should someone else take over the mantle? Also, where do you think Alastair Cook lies as the greatest England captain? We've had some good captains over the years, Michael Vaughan, Andrew Strauss. Before that, you had Nasser Hussain. There's a long list which goes back through many, many years. But where does Alastair Cook lie as the England's greatest cricket captain? Would love to get your thoughts on that on the Facebook page and on the Periscope page. Please get involved. We're also talking about this morning about the sad news of the passing of the former South Africa captain Joost van der Westhuizen, who died at the age of 45. He, of course, won the World Cup with the Springboks in 1995, regarded as one of the best scrum halves, and he won 89 international caps, and he captained the Springboks for 4 years, including the 1999 World Cup. If you've got any tributes or any favourite memories of who's over the years, let us know on the Facebook page and let us know on the Twitter page at Sportuccino. Now, talking about rugby, there is of course a huge match in the Six Nations coming this Saturday. It's Wales versus England in Cardiff at the Millennium Stadium. Lots on the line there. Of course, Wales beating Italy at the weekend and France having a very bad performance. England, of course, getting a very bad performance but still beating France in the Six Nations. Is it already a decider for the title this Saturday? We'll have to wait and see. But yesterday on Sportuccino, we had the sports journalist and the Olympic historian Philip Barker, and he says that the England versus Wales rugby match is one of the real occasions of the year. Have a look at this.
Previously on Sportuccino.
That match next weekend, the game down at what we used to call the Arms Park, the Millennium Stadium, where they get Land of My Fathers going for the Welsh, and even if Dan Biggar and George North have injury worries at the moment after yesterday's encounter out in Rome, that's going to be a match and a half, because the way the Welsh team have a habit of overperforming against England. Whatever has gone before, you can completely discount that, because when it's England at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, it's the great occasion of the year.
Well as being very proud of their rugby history, Wales is really performing well in the boxing world right now. We've got world champions in Lee Selby. Of course, back in the day, you had Joe Calzaghe. And we're going to talk all things boxing this morning with Rachel Bowes. Rachel now joins me live. She's the director of Fight Scene magazine. Rachel, good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Richard. I'm very well, thank you.
So, Rachel, quickly tell us a little bit about Fight Scene magazine and how it came about and exactly what you do there.
Okay, well, Fight Scene magazine actually began in Bournemouth, where I lived at the time. I fell through some difficult times personally. My daughter was unwell, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and I joined a gym. Having grown up with sport, I knew the benefits of it, and it kind of helped me through. To cut a long story short, I moved back to Wales then, following obviously the death of my dad, and continued with the boxing. I grew to love the sport, and I joined the boxing gym. Now, whilst I was training in the gym, I obviously fell in love with the sport, but I also recognised how much is involved. There's so much technique, there's so much that motivation, drive, confidence that the sport brings. And I saw an opportunity to kind of give a bit of support back, to help me through difficult times, and also help these fighters. As I say, they put so much into their routine, the diet, the training, the fitness. It's so much more than what perhaps meets the eye.
Yeah, very interesting. And of course, you've got Enzo Calzaghe involved in the magazine as a columnist. How did that come about?
That's correct. Well, as I say, the magazine began as Boxio. It was a hobby, and Boxio being Welsh for boxing. I kind of produced, it was a bi-monthly magazine. I produced 6-7 issues, and just from being on the scene, meeting people, visiting the gyms, learning the sport, I met Enzo and his team in Newbridge. We sort of built a working relationship, which just grew. He saw the magazine, it was Boxio at the time, and he saw the difference. Obviously, he's been involved with other magazines before. He's been voted as Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year, but he could recognise the quality of the magazine and the difference that we bring. And it was from that point he sort of wanted to come on board. He invited us into the offices in Newbridge, and he wanted to voice his opinions through the magazine. He felt that he could bring honesty and talk about topics that perhaps others wouldn't. And that's how it came about.
So what are some of the things he's brought up in the magazine so far? What are some of the standout opinions and columns you've had?
Well, obviously he'll talk about any topic, anything that's related to boxing. He will tell it as it is. I mean, obviously we've seen in the news recently, there's been a lot of limelight with concerns of the safety of boxing. So that's a recent topic that he's kind of raised or put his opinion on. And obviously more will follow as we relaunch. We're looking to relaunch in the spring now. We're turning the magazine into a monthly edition. As you know, it's called Fight Scene. And Enzo will be coming forth with lots more opinions. We'll be going behind the scenes. He wants to talk about obesity and the benefits of sport, different techniques, just perhaps areas that others don't cover.
Okay, because speaking about safety, of course, in the last day, there's been this news about handheld scanners which detect bleeding on the brain. They're going to be introduced. It looks like they're going to be used at an event in Bradford later this month. And of course, we did have that death of Mike Towell and also that injury to Nick Blackman. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is a good move?
I think it is a good move, of course. I mean, boxing isn't considered a normal sport, is it? Boxers, I mean, they go into the boxing ring. That's the nature of the sport, to knock each other out. Personally, we don't feel that they actually intend to cause long-term damage. But boxing will continue regardless of anybody's opinion. So I do feel that it is a positive move in trying to support the fight scene and the safety of boxing. As you just mentioned, they are looking now to bring out a brain scanning device, and I understand it'll be rolled out at the end of this month. Via one of the boxing authorities. They will introduce it to the UK and the Irish network. It's a great device. I understand that it's a sort of a 3-minute procedure that will sort of put light into numerous different areas of the brain, and it will detect early signs of trauma, early signs of brain injury, which again, I think the first hour is considered the most crucial time for this to occur.
Now, one of the big stories going on in the news right now is all about David Beckham and not being given a knighthood and everything related to that. And when Andy Murray was given his knighthood earlier this year, Enzo Calzaghe was saying, well, what about Joe? What about Joe Calzaghe, the real pride of Welsh boxing? And like I mentioned at the start of this interview, you've got so many great Welsh boxers. Do you think that Joe deserves a knighthood?
I do believe, personally, I feel he does. I mean, he has made his name in his own right. He's undefeated, 46 undefeated world champion, and also the father-son relationship. I mean, he's recognised throughout the world, and I feel that he is a sportsman and deserves recognition in his own right. You know, lots of these sportsmen come from difficult, tough backgrounds. And it's been a long journey, and as I say, everything that they've achieved as a father-son relationship has been achieved through their own right. And yes, I would say, in my opinion, he does deserve that.
Well, let's see if that happens. Rachel, it's been really good to talk to you today. Just tell us how we can buy the magazine and also any other social media links to find out more about Fight Scene magazine, please.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard, for having me on your show. It's been a privilege. So the magazine is called Fight Scene. We have a new website, which is fight-scene.com. The magazine is available to download via PDF. It also will be rolled out in the spring. It will be available in news agents and smaller outlets such as WH Smith's and amateur gyms and professional gyms. We're going to do a massive relaunch and make it available to the people who want to read about the fight scene.
Wonderful. Well, it's been so good to talk to you. Rachel Bowes there from Fight Scene magazine. Thank you so much for your time this morning on Sportuccino.
Thank you, Richard. Bye-bye.
Well, Rachel's telling us all about her different methods of how you can contact Fight Scene magazine on social media. And of course, we're on Twitter, and we like to push the conversation a little bit further with a daily poll. Let's have a look at the result of our last poll. We were asking, is Tom Brady the greatest quarterback of all time? And it's a pretty close decision. 54% of you said yes. 46% of you said, no way, Jose, he is not. So good to get your thoughts on that. Of course, he won his fifth ring by winning that Super Bowl on Sunday in that incredible comeback as the New England Patriots came back from a 25-point deficit to beat the Atlanta Falcons. Incredible stuff there in overtime. Let's have a look at today's poll. And we're moving on to football now. Of course, Gabriel Jesus has played the last two matches for Manchester City, scoring goals. But is there a future for Sergio Aguero at the Etihad? And we're asking that on today's poll. Will Sergio Aguero still be a Manchester City player next season? Hashtag Man City, hashtag MCFC, hashtag EPL, hashtag Premier League. Lots of hashtags there, isn't there? But I want to know, do you think Sergio Aguero will be a Manchester City player next season? What do you think? There's links this morning with Real Madrid and various other clubs. Why would you get rid of a player like Sergio Aguero at the age of 28? I heard comments this morning from the former Manchester City manager Stuart Pearce. He was saying that perhaps Aguero could be tempted for China. But come on, Sergio Aguero could have 4-5 years still at the highest level. Look at Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's 35 and he's still scoring goals at the very, very pinnacle of football for Manchester United in the Premier League. So I think Aguero could go on for a lot longer. Don't go to China, please. We'll have to see what happens there. And we're also talking about football on today's Instagram page. Let's have a look at today's Insta stat.
James Vaughan is the youngest ever Premier League goalscorer at 16 years and 270 days.
Yeah, James Vaughan, remember that? That seems a long time ago. I think James Milner had that record for a little while as well. Look at what he's been doing now for Liverpool. Even putting into a square peg in a round hole by playing at left back, but still keeping out a player such as Alberto Moreno from that position, and actually had played very well in that position so far this season, even if Liverpool in 2017 are having an absolute stinker after their good start to the season. For me, they were title contenders. For me, when they beat Chelsea at that game at Stamford Bridge, they were potentially the favourites, but since then Conte's changed it to a back three, and Chelsea have been rocking and rolling. Although there have been comments today from Harry Kane, and he says that the title race is still open. They still have a chance. Let me know what you think about that on the Facebook page and on the Twitter page. So that is their goal. Their goal is to try and be the Premier League champions. Spurs' goal is to win titles and win trophies and overtake Chelsea. And setting goals and setting targets is something that we all should be doing, not only long-term, short-term, but we can be doing that every single day. We can decide what exactly we want to achieve in our day. And that's what I've started to do on our Sportuccino Snapchat page. Why don't we have a look at what's on our Snapchat page today? Well, it's time for our goal of the day, and my goal of the day is related to networking. I'm going to be at an event in central London hosted by journalism.co.uk, where I'm going to meet lots of people in that industry. So that is my goal, to meet more great people. And of course, I'm hosting my own sports media networking event on the 13th of February. It's in Brighton, and you can find more details on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Sportuccino. Anyway, that is my goal of the day. Set yours. Let me know what it is. Yeah, there's not just goals there, but there's all kinds of different things you can find out on our Snapchat page. You know, if you were watching during our time in Cape Town, South Africa, you would have seen all kinds of different things behind the scenes. When I went to a market stall, when I went to the Met, the big horse racing event at Kenilworth, when I went to the cricket between South Africa and Sri Lanka in the One Day International, and some of the good times I spent with the former Al Jazeera presenter Robin Adams, who was also a guest on the show. Of course, all those episodes are available on the Facebook page. I'd really love for you to get involved on Sportuccino by having a look at all of those different things. If you've got any comments about anything to do with our sports stories today, get involved on Periscope, get involved on Facebook. We are live on all of these different channels. I would love to hear from you on everything to do with that. Now, I mentioned I was in Cape Town, South Africa, and I have been fortunate enough to go to at least 30 different countries around the world, and by doing that I've picked a few different travel tips along the way. So let's have a look at today's travel tip. Now, one thing I always do is I always think, all right, what if I lose my wallet? What if I have my wallet stolen, or what if I lose all of my money or a bank card, or my bank card gets blocked because I'm in a foreign country? Well, I always think, you know what, it makes sense just to always have enough money for you to get a taxi to somewhere, even if it's just that money back to going to the airport, or it's to go to a money exchange, or it's to go to a bank. So what I always do is, no matter what, as soon as I arrive into a hotel room, I put a little bit of money in the safe, and I leave it there. I leave it there till the end of the trip. And in fact, what I do is I use that as the last bit of money for that taxi to return to the airport if I don't have to use it. It's always good just to leave a little bit of emergency money on the side. Of course, when you're traveling anyway, you should try and split your money up when you've got cash. Don't keep it all in one place. You know, try and put it in different things, maybe in one wallet, maybe in where you keep your passport, maybe in a bag, wherever. But what I like to do is I always like to keep a little bit of money in a safe just in case you need it. Of course, we've had lots of other travel tips in the past. Go back and watch our previous episodes on Facebook and on sportuccino.com. And at some point, once I reach about 50 travel tips, yeah, we've got a few more to come, people, we'll collate them all and make them into a special YouTube video. So stay tuned to that. And of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube page to find out more details. That is today's travel tip. All right, we've nearly reached the end of the show. One thing we wanted to mention also is your thoughts on Russia being banned for the World Athletics Championships. Of course, they've been banned for quite a while after failing the doping regulations set by the IAAF, the Athletics World Governing Body. But it looks like they can't compete as a team at the World Championships in London later this year. But there is talk that I think it was 25 Russian athletes have already applied to try and compete under a neutral flag. What do you think? Do you think that should be allowed? Do you think Russia should be allowed to compete? Do you think they've done enough to clean up their act? I'd love to get your thoughts on that on the Facebook and on the Twitter page. All right, we've nearly reached the end of the show. Let's have a quick reminder of today's sports headlines.
Alastair Cook steps down as England cricket captain. Former South Africa rugby captain Joost van der Westhuizen dies at the age of 45. Russia's ban on athletics to be extended to this year's World Championships. And the NBA champions, the Cleveland Cavaliers, need overtime to beat Washington Wizards 140 to 135.
On tomorrow's Sportuccino, on Wednesday at 8 GMT, we're looking at a brand new app related to tennis performance. Do not miss it, because that's what we like to do on Sportuccino. We like to talk about everything related to sports, health, fitness, tech, lifestyle, travel. You name it, we've got it for you. If there's anything you'd like me to cover, get involved. Send us an email, sportsdesk@sportuccino.com. Would love to hear from you. All right, if you haven't liked the page already on Facebook, please go ahead and do that. Please subscribe to YouTube and tell your friends and share this video. All right, I've been Richard Parr. You've been watching Sportuccino, and I'll speak to you tomorrow morning from 8 GMT. Goodbye.